reported this morning TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible.
Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Thomas, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Brian. Hello. This week we are transmitting from off-world, where no one can hear you scream. We're coming from space to discuss 1997's Event Horizon, 2009's Pandorum, and 2017's Life. Okay, I'll start us off with 1997's Event Horizon.
The Event Horizon. She's come back.
Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson on a budget of $60 million and grossing $26,674,415 US, according to IMDb, whereas Wikipedia claims it grossed $42 million, but I'm assuming that's after sales in DVDs, VHSs, etc. It's written by Philip Eisner. He wrote in 2002 a Firestarter sequel miniseries called Rekindled. He wrote 2008's Mutant Chronicles, which starred Thomas Jane and Ron Perlman. And he wrote 2021's Sweet Girl with Jason Momoa, and I can't remember the girl's name now. She was in Alien Romulus. Yeah. And she was in Madam Web. Yeah, your two favourite films of the year. Yep. I think one was better than the other, but I won't say which. It'll offend people. It stars Lawrence Fishburne as Miller, Sam Neill as Weir, or is that Dr. Weir, really, isn't it? Kathleen Quinlan as Peters, Jodie Richardson as Stark, Richard T. Jones as Cooper, Jack Noseworthy as Justin, Jason Isaacs as DJ, Sean Pertwee as Smith, Peter Marinka as Kilpack, and Holly Chant as Claire. The synopsis, as IMDb has it, a rescue crew is tasked with investigating the mysterious reappearance of a spaceship that had been lost for 7 years. Thoughts?
I thought there was going to be more to the synopsis.
Nope, that's all IMDb will give it.
Oh, wow. I thought it was going to delve into all the actual horror stuff.
Okay, well, to get into that then, it's basically a haunted house movie in space. How's that?
I don't know why, that feels kind of insulting.
Good it is.
What, insulting?
No, a haunted house movie in space. It's just like, there's an abandoned spaceship, just like your abandoned haunted house thing.
Yeah, I guess.
It just so happens there's a weird hellish dimension involved. Sorry, dimensional gateway, as Dr. Weir calls it, and he does a little folding paper explanation and a pen going through.
Yeah, because they pretty much paraphrase that whole bit of dialogue for Interstellar.
Yeah, so, thoughts?
I like it. It does have a lot of symbolic imagery in it, which you kind of...
Oh yeah, I've wrote some down.
Yeah.
Coffin-shaped doors.
Yeah.
Cross-shaped windows.
Yeah.
And cross-shaped doors. When the doors are closing, there's a part where it gets
Yeah.
caught and it's formed a cross as well.
Yeah.
So,
There's quite a lot of that sort of thing.
yeah. I mean, I think the ship actually looks like a cross as well.
Yeah. The Event Horizon itself.
Yeah. I got this from the Dead Meat episode about this actually. They say there's a line of dialogue in this film, and I'm pretty sure he says that's not a load-bearing structure. But then they dock to it anyway.
All right.
But it doesn't matter, right? Because they're in space. There is no load.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a weird line to say at all. I do like the fact that the name of the ship that they're on is the Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, I was just about to say I would note down all the ship names.
Because that's a famous expedition team.
Yeah. Not too on the nose, is it?
Not at all.
I think a lot of ship names are.
I mean, in something we'll be discussing in a couple of weeks or so, there's something called the USS Jimmy Carter. So,
yeah.
If there's something Americans are good at, it's congratulating themselves with weird historical patriotism. Also, this opens with a text scroll, and it basically just says that we have colonies on the moon now, we're mining on Mars.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's only set in 2047, so we're only 23 years away, and I still don't see that happening now.
This is the problem with sci-fi films, though, because there's parts of them where they go like, I think this will be believable in about 40 years or so, and you're just like, I really don't think so.
Not only do they think we'll be having a colony on the moon and mining in Mars 50 years from this film's release, but they think we'll still be using CDs to store information and data. They completely forgot the technological thing of memory gets bigger and smaller.
Yeah.
So like higher capacity but smaller in size as it evolves.
Yeah.
And they forgot that. That I think is something that everyone that writes sci-fi should know.
Yeah.
Something else I find quite a thing is it's 2047 and there's someone that speaks very good Latin just happens to be on board.
Yeah.
Well, I think Latin's already quite a dead language. There's not many people speaking it now.
I don't think there were. It's 97 either,
So,
to be honest.
exactly. But there'll be less now than there was then, I guess. So by 2047, I'm assuming it's the chances of having somebody... In fact, I wish I'd have like Googled this to see if I could like predict what the chances were of somebody speaking pretty decent Latin in 2047.
That's a good point. I don't know how many people are on the Lewis and Clark ship in this film.
Well, I've just wrote 10,
And I think they were like someone named crew.
but you don't get many really.
No. So it's like 1 in 10 speak Latin in this.
Yeah.
Well done, on average.
I also like when we see the head of the ship and we've got obviously Fishburne's character Miller, he's the captain, and his chair is just hovering.
Oh, yeah.
It just hovers, there's no underneath.
No.
I mean, it's obviously like green screened away.
Yeah.
But then when it cuts to a crew member of Justin at one of the control panels, it looks like he's wheeling about his chair.
Yeah.
He probably is, but we can only assume that's hovering too. But when you get the mid shot, that allows you to see Lawrence Fishburne again with his chair still hovering. There's no movement to it, it just hovers.
Yeah.
And no one else's crew around the outside, any of the consoles are moving.
Yeah.
They're all just static. So I'm assuming they're actually all sat on regular like swivel chairs on wheels. And we just can't see the bottoms that have kept it away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only a small thing for effect work, but it just bothers me that we're allowing to see him move on his like close shot.
Yeah.
But when it goes to a mid, we're not even allowed to see the chair.
No.
And everyone is stationary. It's like, but he was just doing a job that required him to move over to another console just next to him.
In my head, it has the sound effect of the wheels going across the floor.
I know. My head almost like implanted the sound while I was watching because you could almost hear the wheels in your head as he moves because it just looks that way. And it was just one of them little things that bothered me. The effects work in this in general, though, for really the most part, really good.
Yeah.
If I'm right, they're clearly trying to do a look how great CGI is shot at the beginning with a lot of things hovering in space, but like the whole corridor seems to be generated.
Yeah.
As does, I think, a water bottle and a couple other items just hovering, and they're clearly rendered now.
Yeah.
And
They don't look particularly great, do they?
no. But I mean, back in 97, I bet it looked great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure as a kid, I remember Tomb Raider looking pretty realistic.
Well, there's Angelina Jolie.
I mean, the video game.
I'm right. I guess there's so realistic about that robot in Tomb Raider.
I forgot she fights a robot in Tomb Raider. But one of my favourite things with this film is it's only a small detail, really, but it's quite intrinsical to the plot, but not its design. But I particularly like that, I forgot what it's called. It's like the gravity thing, like that orb.
Oh, yeah.
And it like rotates, but it's got like rings around it that rotate in opposite directions and stuff. I particularly like the design of that, even though it looks like a lot of speakers positioned into a sphere. But there's something pretty cool about seeing that move. And that feels quite real at times, but I think it probably was because they have light come from it.
Yeah.
They're not particularly great now at rendering light sources in.
No.
Well, they are now, but 10 years ago they weren't that great.
No.
Back in 97, I can't imagine it being an easy thing to do at all. So I imagine when it's lit up, that is a real set piece. The ship's design, to be fair, is pretty cool when it's going around inside.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, some throwbacks to Alien, because they have like the mess room,
Yeah.
which is a little similar.
Yeah.
But Alien, I think, nailed quite a lot of what space travel would look like.
It inspired a lot of them sort of films afterwards as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just so good.
Well, there's the pods that they sleep in, them like cryopod things. They're a similar design in this, but
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at most cryopods in anything, they're always a very similar, almost glass-fronted cylindrical chamber, aren't they? Either horizontal, vertical, or in between at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah. Can't think of anything before Alien that had anything like that.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
I haven't watched enough.
Being curious to see what there is actually, thinking about it. They also make a good point, I think, in this at building tension, because there's a point where the film starts to break down and it gets to, we've only got 20 hours of breathable air.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got your ticking clock set up for the storyline. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we've got 20 hours to sort this thing out and get away to safety. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is also what I call a part of the Sam Neill Goes Crazy trilogy.
Jurassic Park and what?
Because he's great in, is it Possessed or Possessor from the early 80s? It was like a European... Possession, that's
I
it.
think Robert Pattinson's doing the remake.
Oh, I didn't know it was getting a remake.
Yeah, I told you the other week and you said you didn't know, but it was you that told me weeks ago.
No, I told you about him doing an adaptation of a cyberpunk novel for Apple.
Yeah, you told me about this as well.
Oh, okay. And then there's the John Carpenter In the Mouth of Madness, is it?
Yeah.
That's another great performance from him.
Yeah.
Sam Neill is great at going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
For me, they're his best films.
Yeah.
Although I haven't seen everything he's in. I know yours is probably Assassin's Club still from the other year.
Yeah. Great film. If you haven't seen it, you've got to check it out.
It's one of them decent schlocky action pieces, I think. It's just one of them great films you find in a bargain bin of action films. And you're like, oh, I recognise the cast of this, so you buy it. It's like, that's quite fun, actually.
It's so close to being in my top 10.
This owes a lot, I think, to Alien. And another one, I think, is Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser, definitely, because that's what he looked at for some of the designs of things.
Right, okay.
He said, got to make it a bit more Hellraiser.
Because there's obviously that, like, hell dimension thing.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, when did Doom come out as a video game?
Doom was
because
before...
the idea of a hell portal, like bringing things from space, is a...
Doom was before this, but if I'm right, they say Doom 3 was inspired by this.
Right, okay.
So I think that's pretty cool. And when you go on about Alien being an inspiration for this, it's funny because the cinematographer Adrian Biddle was the cinematographer on Aliens.
Right, okay.
He also did Judge Dredd, The Mummy Returns, V for Vendetta, and The World Is Not Enough.
That's quite a decent set of style there, because some cinematographers, it's their work, but that shows range, and the cinematography in Event Horizon, I wouldn't say matches up with World Is Not Enough isn't a great example, because a lot of the Bond films until Daniel Craig had their own set way of framing and so on, structuring. But I wouldn't say it was Aliens.
No.
From the cinematography.
No.
Well, that's quite interesting. I never even thought to look up the cinematographer.
You usually do, and I've just started getting them now.
I sometimes look up the editor, and I don't think I've done that for any of these.
No, I don't really look up the editor. Anderson had to edit this. Well, I assume he worked on the editing as well.
Yeah.
Because they had to cut it down from 130 minutes.
I was going to say, there's like just over a 2-hour version of this, if not... And I think the assembly cut of this was apparently 3 hours. But I'm not 100%.
I don't know, but I know a lot of the footage is lost.
Yeah, and it's a shame, because I think a longer pacing of this to something more of 2 hours would add to the tension.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what sort of like horror scenes are missing.
Yeah.
As well.
But he had to cut it. I think he had a week to edit it down.
Well, is that because they moved this forward?
Yeah.
Because Titanic was taken longer?
Yeah.
Because this took the release date from Titanic, didn't it? When Titanic was taking longer to shoot.
Yeah.
Which I find so bizarre. It's like, Titanic's taking a bit long. What film can we release in place of Titanic? Oh, Event Horizon. The people that are excited to see Titanic will definitely want to see Event Horizon.
They just want to see ships go to hell.
I guess. Yeah. You say this is the sci-fi horror version of Titanic?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish there was the bit with them stood at the front of the ship, or on top of the world.
Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. There's some really good like horror moments in this as well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I won't say for those who haven't seen it, but I think a lot of people would have seen this by now.
When you say Hellraiser's sort of been inspiration for them horror imagery, that kind of helps.
Well, the guy at the end, I won't say who, but he's got all them like lacerations on him, like all over.
Yeah.
Can't imagine the hours of makeup he'd have had to have sat in that. Or if they made like a weird skin suit with them all on and he just zips in.
Goes to shop in it.
I would so do that if I had one. It was this, wasn't it, where somebody's like eyes are just sewn shut as well.
I think so. There's quite a few iron things in this.
I also wonder how much more ambiguous it would have been in a longer cut. Because there's obviously the playing around with the idea of dreams and nightmares.
Yeah.
I won't say too much, but I would say pay attention to when somebody dreams.
Yeah.
Because it sets up things to come later, which I find quite interesting. I love a good ambiguous thing in a horror thing. Or just editing.
They do make horror better, I think. Ambiguity. The idea of something being there or not. There's just something scarier in that. I like the fact Anderson turned down the Mortal Kombat sequel to do this, but did you see the other stuff that he turned down to do this?
No.
Because I like the idea of his Alien Resurrection movie.
Oh, was he asked to do Alien Resurrection?
Yeah, it'd have probably been the same script, but I'd like to see
what is this? It'd have just done this, but it's just like Alien Resurrection.
No, it's the same script for Alien Resurrection. Yeah, it'd just be the same, I imagine. I don't know. It sounded like Fox chose that script for Alien Resurrection.
The creature design would have probably been different, though.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Someone like that.
Yeah. And I'd just like to have seen what he'd have done with it, but he also...
X-Men.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to have seen what he'd have done with X-Men.
Yeah.
I imagine it'd have been a bit more action.
The X-Men movie came out, 2000?
Yeah. And they'd been kicking it about.
So why couldn't he just do X-Men after this?
He was asked to do X-Men, but because he turned it down, they were still trying to get other directors in.
Okay.
And it took them so long to get...
So they could have gone back to him, basically.
Yeah.
Because when you look at this film and what he managed to do, and especially when you look at his Mortal Kombat,
yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat, I think, it seems a little camp and cheesy now, but it does owe itself a lot to the actual original designs from the game.
Yeah.
Which is something Singer didn't dare do for X-Men.
Yeah.
But I also wonder how much control Fox were having over that, because Hugh Jackman's come out and said now that Fox said, oh, the bright colour costumes wouldn't work, etc., etc.
Which at that time, they kind of were on that because Batman had all the darker suits.
Yeah, but Batman's a dark character anyway. It kind of makes a little more sense.
When it came to comic book movies, they were looking at that and like, we have to do that.
Well, Blade did it. Well, I watched a video actually about The Crow, and this guy was on about how he believes The Crow brought up to the genre of what he calls 90s cool.
Yeah.
And he goes on about how it clearly inspired Blade,
Yeah.
Underworld, because the whole the Matrix design, especially with the rooftop chase and stuff, and rooftop running and so on. So I do wonder just how much The Crow had influence to that. Yeah. So has The Crow basically influenced such as what went on with the X-Men as well?
Possibly. Let's get back to Event Horizon. Event Horizon.
Also, the original footage to this went missing, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get say where they apparently found it.
I believe a salt mine.
Yeah. They said apparently it could preserve. I really don't know. I feel that.
I mean, salt helps preserve foods, but salt,
I really think that's more of a joke. I don't really believe that.
I think it's one of them urban myth things.
Yeah. There's no way. I remember as well, Michael Kamen did the music on this.
You love Michael Kamen.
He did the music on X-Men.
Speaking of films, Anderson turned down as well. X-Files.
Yeah.
It's one of them.
I did have that, but we got talking about
sorry.
stuff.
I can't imagine what his X-Files would look like.
In my head, it's just so actiony.
I know.
And I don't know what.
A lot like that episode where Mulder jumps onto the train.
Oh, I love that one. It's season 3 episode.
It's got the red-haired man in it, played by Steve McHattie.
Yeah.
Or McHattie.
It's definitely season 3.
Fun fact I did find about this, I don't know if you saw it, there's a famous prop design from another famous sci-fi film appear in this film.
Oh, trying to think now, because I know he threw in the thing from Blade Runner in Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think it's anything from Alien or any of them, is it?
Nope.
It's not Blade Runner again.
Nope.
Go on, what is it?
Star Wars.
Oh, right.
Apparently there's a complete
X-Wing.
X-Wing. Yeah, in the antenna array.
Yeah.
So Event Horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is obviously not just a brilliant sci-fi horror, but I think it's a great cult classic as well. It didn't do well at the time, but it's lived on now due to its reputation.
Yeah.
I say lived on due to its reputation. I personally don't think it lives up to its reputation.
No.
I like this film, but people have put some very big labels on it.
Yeah.
And I can see why, maybe, if you've not seen anything like it before. But if you've come into this and you've seen Alien, you've seen Hellraiser, I don't particularly think you're going to see anything new from this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, even a Sam Neill Gone Crazy movie.
Exactly.
It's the third one in that trilogy.
Yeah, it is. The other two are before this.
Yeah.
It's probably why he got cast. I do, though, like the fact that Sam Neill went from... Will this have been Sam Neill's film immediately after Jurassic Park? It won't have been, will it? He'll have done the Merlin trilogy thing between, I think.
Yeah, 93, this is 97.
But I do like the fact that clearly he's gone like, oh, well, I've played this quite wholesome guy in Jurassic Park. I'm now going to play this guy in Event Horizon.
Another wholesome guy, I think.
Yeah, for the most part. I think Richard T. Jones stands out in this as Cooper. He's a bit of a comedy relief type guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, do you want your coffee hot and black or something like that? So I can't remember which of the women it is he says it to. I think Peters, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure now.
And Pertwee and Isaacs, I think, could have been doing more in this film.
I really liked it in it.
Yes. There's a part where a bit of a fight breaks out as well between one of them. And I quite like that as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about the plot for them that haven't seen it.
No.
It's definitely worth a watch for any sci-fi fan or horror fan.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of both those genres, then I'm pretty sure you're in for a treat.
Yeah. I know some people have it up there as like their favourite horror film.
Yeah, I can see why. Especially if it's one of the first proper horrors you watch.
Yeah.
Because Alien, to me, I don't see it ever as a proper horror.
Yeah.
It's just like a suspense sci-fi film that happens to have a creature on board, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it depends how you classify horror. But Alien, it's just like a creature feature more than a horror. I know creature features are like a subcategory of horror, but to me it's no different to people being stalked by a leopard and having to hunt it or something.
I would say I'd try and put you in one of those situations, but I don't think I could put you in either.
I'm not saying it won't be scary, but it's not the same, if you know what I mean. Creatures can be killed. The stuff that's going on in Event Horizon isn't quite something you can kill. So it's like this weird other entity thing you don't understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on. Or is there more you want to say about Event Horizon?
There's not very much
okay.
And to this without repeating myself, I don't think.
More event, less horizon?
I don't remember there being that much horizon to say less horizon in this movie.
Oh, so less event and more horizon?
Yeah.
Or same event and more horizon?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what I'm on myself, honestly.
I don't know either.
I think I'm cracking up.
So on to 2009's Pandorum on a budget of $33 million. and grossing $20,648,328. Directed by Christian Alvat, also co-wrote with Travis Malloy, and starring Dennis Quaid as Peyton, Ben Foster as Bauer, Cam Gigande as Gallo, Antje Trau as Nadia, Kung Lee as Man, Eddie Rouse as Leland.
Hello? Hello? Someone's been through here.
Don't move.
And synopsis, as IMDb says, 2 crew members of a spaceship wake up from hypersleep to discover that all their colleagues are missing. Despite this, it appears that they are not alone. Well, I've kind of spoiled that by going through a cast, I guess.
Yeah. Could be flashbacks.
It's possibly flashback.
Did you see this in cinemas?
No.
Right.
I
know I
watched it
I loved it.
multiple times once it was on DVD.
Yeah. Because I saw it in cinemas and I had a fantastic time with it.
Yeah, I can
'Cause
imagine.
it's quite fast-paced, and it has to be because of the plot.
Yeah.
But also there's this sense of paranoia going on with it. It's a little more cerebral. Well, it's just as cerebral, I think, as it is action.
Yeah.
Because he's questioning what's happening because he hasn't got all his memories back yet. Because
Yeah.
the 2 crew members have just came out of their, like, cryopod things.
Yeah. Can we describe the cryopods in this one?
Cylindrical chambers with glass fronts.
Yeah. Just making sure.
And I had a lot of fun with this in the cinema. It's one of my favourite movie endings, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it goes places you don't expect, and I like that. It takes a big swing.
Yeah.
And apparently this was planned to be a trilogy. So for the ending of this, just implies that the second movie would have been so different.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd love to have seen what that was.
Do you think that would have also have had a made-up sci-fi word?
For the title.
Yeah.
Just put Dorum on the end of something and it's a thing now.
I don't know.
No, Pandorum is a made-up word, because this wasn't even the original film's title. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But Pandorum's basically this mental illness they basically created for the film. And it's like a sense of paranoia in space travel, like going crazy, I guess, from being so isolated in space.
Yeah.
Because the idea is they've left Earth to form a colony somewhere.
Yeah.
And they wake up and the ship's in a bit of disaster, and there's these... Would it spoil it if I said about the creatures going around? Because that's quite a big part.
There's something going around.
Because I'm not even sure if they're creatures as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I particularly like their design anyway.
Yeah.
The plot of this. And you said Antje Trau is in this, who plays Nadia.
Yeah.
She played Feora in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I thought she was phenomenal in this. I'm pretty sure I read at the time of watching this in cinemas, which is like 15 years ago now, that this was her first English-speaking role.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything online about it, because I found her character fascinating, and she's got a great fighting style in this.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's capoeira
Something
or
like that.
capoeira.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how do you say it properly. It's a good style anyway, and it works well for this film. Because we also have Man by Kung Lee in this, and he's got a different fighting style again.
Yeah.
Which I particularly like to see. So,
Yeah.
because they end up in a bit of a fight with each other, and it's just nice to see these 2 different styles working together on screen. The ship in this is called Elysium.
Yeah.
That was the name of the film originally.
Right.
And no, it didn't change because of...
Matt Damon one.
yeah, that was years later.
Yeah. I don't know.
One of my biggest problems with this, though, is the 2000s editing style
Oh, yeah.
of being really choppy and cutting.
Yeah. It kind of works in this.
The first proper chase scene where they get chased through the ship. And the problem is the editing on it. It's too choppy.
Yeah.
But I guess it allows for that sense of what the hell's going on, what the hell's going on, what the hell's going on, like panic.
Yeah.
That's the word. That would be going on in their heads as they're being chased.
Yeah.
Also, this is the first film where Ben Foster's brother appears on screen with him. I don't know if there are any others.
Yeah.
John Foster plays a guy that I think he's awakened early out of his pod or something and
Yeah.
dies or had died when they found him.
Yeah.
And Norman Reedus has a cameo in this.
Yes.
I think he's from another ship, or he's just from another crew on the ship, because obviously
Yeah.
it's travelling years and years in space that they've set up different numbers of crews.
Yeah.
And it's all told by, is it a barcode number thing on their uniforms? Or do they actually have it tattooed?
I think they have it tattooed.
And that allows you to know which crew you're from, kind of.
Yeah.
Because Dennis Quaid and Ben Foster aren't from the same crew,
Yeah.
and they're a different rank as well, if
Yeah.
I'm right.
Yeah.
So, and the idea is Ben Foster's, is he going to put the power on? Is that what Quaid sent him to do?
Yeah, you get sent to sort of power out so they can
Get the ship back going,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, yeah.
Because have they awakened and they find they're off course or something?
Yeah. Completely off.
Yeah.
course.
Either woken up late or early, I can't remember now, but
Yeah.
it's such a great sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Like, the idea itself isn't anything original, because, again, you've got bits of Alien in this.
Yeah.
But then I think you've also got The Descent.
Yeah. I can see that.
But another film it does remind me of, actually, it's the same director as The Descent, is it Doomsday?
Right.
You know how they're constantly in pursuit by these, like,
Yeah.
it reminded me of that a little as well from Neil Marshall, that's his name.
Yeah. Neil Marshall.
Yeah, it gave me that sort of vibe a little in parts, mostly in the action chase scenes.
Yeah. Styles kind of
Similar, yeah. Norman Reedus only had a cameo in this, so I believe, because he said he wanted to work with the director again because he'd done a film prior with...
Yeah, Antibodies.
Yeah, that's it. I never wrote it down. And Ben Foster apparently was the director's first choice to play Bauer as well.
Nice. He's a great actor.
I think so, because we'd seen him prior to this in Punisher.
Well, yeah, Punisher.
X-Men 3.
Yeah, completely different characters. And I mean...
You've been in The Mechanic before this as well?
Trying to think what year The Mechanic is now. It's around about this time, 2010 sort of time, isn't it? I think.
Probably.
But he's a great actor.
Yeah. I like him in that Leave No Trace from the other year. Phenomenal film.
Yeah, he always puts on a great performance. I think he's completely underrated.
30 Days a Night, that's somewhere else we'd have seen him as well. Because he plays a good part in that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes he's playing a similar sort of character, but
he plays them different.
He plays them so well as well. Like, yeah.
He always has a different spin on it. Yeah. All his characters, to me, I feel...
So underrated as an actor,
unique.
I think.
He's one of the most underrated actors, I think.
Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
With,
yeah. He's great in that as well.
Phenomenal film. I think they've paired up again for another film since then.
Yeah, I believe so.
Sorry, I think I've said a lot about this. Is there anything you want to say?
I think you said most of what I would say about this, to be fair. Because, again, this blends all these genres together really well into one cohesive story, which comes down to two writers that also had different ideas originally. One, I think, wanted to do the space horror, and the other one wanted the memory dots story.
Right.
And
they found a way to...
Yeah, and they merged their ideas together.
Well, that's the overall thing with this in general. There's not particularly any unique concept in this. But, you know, you've probably seen everything in this film somewhere else.
It's
but
similar to Event Horizon. It's how they blend them ideas together to make a unique sort of film as well.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I loved it when I watched it in the cinema, but it was quite easy because I was already a big fan of Ben Foster, so it seems.
Huge fan. You'd seen all his movies.
I pretty much had at the time, I think, when I went to
most of them, I think, yeah. And like I said, he's always putting in a great performance.
I think he's in Alpha Dog.
Yes, he is. He's great in that.
So I've seen him in that as well prior to
2005, is that?
Or 3. I'm not sure.
That was 2005.
Probably is. Bruce Willis in that as well.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is in that.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. Good cast, I think, Alpha Dog.
Set design on this, phenomenal.
Didn't they film in like an old power station or something weird?
I think some scenes were, but I'm not sure all of it was.
Yeah.
But I think they did actually make some sets for this.
Yeah.
Something I really did like in this. It's just like a minute detail. The laser shave thing.
Oh.
I just love little bits of sci-fi thing like that. So, I can't wait for this.
A real clean shave.
Yeah, but with a laser. Oh, great stuff. Great stuff.
It does have a pretty cool sci-fi weapon in this anyway.
Oh, the little gauntlet thing he has, that blast.
Yeah. I love it.
It is a cool little thing.
Not totally unique.
If I'm right, it's not actually it is a weapon, but it's only like a stun weapon, isn't it? Because Ben Foster's an engineer, isn't he? If I'm right. Which obviously that's a little bit Dead Space.
Yeah. Dead Space was inspired by Event Horizon.
Yeah.
It all comes full circle.
Are we moving on, or is there more you want to say about this? Because I could say a lot about this, but I feel it would spoil a lot of great things.
It would probably spoil quite a bit of it.
Oh, one thing that isn't spoiling it, I like the fact a lot of the cast are from different ethnic backgrounds.
Yeah,
because obviously when they meet up, they can't particularly communicate too well.
Yeah.
Which I think works really well for this idea of a colony.
Yeah.
You know, you want to save cultures. Because there's a scene and it's like a great big storage container of... Is it seeds, like plants and stuff? Because one of them's a botanist or something.
Yeah.
So just the idea of all these things they're trying to take to this other place with them on this ship to preserve the Earth, I guess.
Yeah.
There are some little bits of flashback as well, aren't there? Like before they're on the ship.
Yeah. Don't really want to say much about that either.
No, it spoils. Like I said, there's
cerebral mystery of things.
Yeah. One other problem is, and I don't remember it, so it might be our TV settings this time when we've watched it, looked a little darker than I remember, that you can't see all the little details.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a dark film anyway, but I don't remember it being that dark. So I could be wrong on that.
I didn't have much of a problem, I don't know.
Maybe it was where I was sat then. Is there actually more you want to say?
Dennis Quaid puts in a hell of a performance, doesn't he?
He does, actually, yeah. I haven't seen him act this good since
The Big Easy.
Yes.
Your favourite Dennis Quaid movie of all time?
Yeah, probably.
Every time he's mentioned, you have to mention The Big
It's
Easy.
that, this, and that one where he can push thoughts.
I think what that is now.
Dreamscape.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I'd wanted to watch it for years, and then I ended up watching it, and I don't know if I was underwhelmed by it or not. It was just alright.
I was whelmed.
I think you just really like Dennis Quaid more than I realised.
I blame this film. I think this was the first full... Oh, no. Day After Tomorrow would have been the first film of his I watched, but I never particularly cared for him in it.
And then
I was more about Jake Gyllenhaal.
and then there's Vantage Point.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that in cinemas. Moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
So now we take an 8-year jump to 2017's Life.
We're looking at the first proof of life beyond Earth.
Directed by Daniel Espinosa, famously for Safe House, Child 44, and the modern cult classic Morbius. Written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who wrote the Deadpool films and the Zombieland films. It stars Haruyuki Sanada as Sho Murakami, Ryan Reynolds as Rory Adams, Rebecca Ferguson as Miranda North, Jake Gyllenhaal as David Jordan, Olga Dekavachiganaga as Ekaterina, Arion Bakari as Hugh Derry. The synopsis, as IMDb has it, a team of scientists aboard the International Space Station discover a rapidly evolving life form that caused extinction on Mars and now threatens all life on Earth. So, do you want to kick us off?
I know most people probably say if you've seen Alien, then there's no point in watching this, but I completely disagree. Really bothered me when a lot of people just compared it to Alien straight off.
I know.
Like, not worth watching.
But nearly every sci-fi film set on a ship is Alien.
We've just discussed 2 movies that pretty much...
I mean, this has a little more in common with Alien. In fact, they've brought a life form on and it starts to attack the crew.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think there's anything wrong with doing something like that. And I think they do it a lot different. And it's a different creature in this.
I love the creature design on this.
Yeah.
Because obviously they've thought that it's evolved to be in space, because the creature seems to evolve as it goes on.
Yeah.
So obviously it's in space, which is like being underwater. So it's clearly got like an aquatic design to it, like a underwater life form, more than a humanoid, which I particularly like.
Yeah.
There are some stupid decisions made early on in the film, but that's to allow the plot to progress, I guess.
I'm going to say, I think a lot of
And it's more for the fact that the scientist seems to be growing a bond with the creature like it's a pet.
Yeah.
So obviously it becomes a little over-friendly, which I think when you're isolated in space like that might work. The only thing I don't like is, why is it on the International Space Station? It didn't feel like it was on the International Space Station. Because I don't think this was set in the future, was it?
Oddly, I don't think I have a year for any of these that were set in.
Event Horizon was 2047, and Pandorum, it does say in the opening text somewhere, but I think it was like 100 years in the future or something. But Life felt like it was present day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember them stating what year it's in, so I think the idea is it's kind of whatever year you're in.
Yeah, maybe.
It's always in the present until it feels like it's not.
Oh, I don't think I said the budget for this, did I? It had a $58 million budget, and it grossed $100,541,888 worldwide, according to IMDb, then figure that anyway. So it did profit, unless we are assuming that its marketing was double the budget. Overall budget, we doubled to involve marketing, should I say.
Yeah.
Then it would have lost. And similar to Pandorum, absolutely love the ending on this. love the ending.
We're not going to say what that is, though.
No, I couldn't spoil a great ending. Oh, the creature gets called Calvin. I never found out why, but I like that.
Didn't one of the kids name it? They
Oh, it could have been because they interviewed some kids to ask them what it's like on the space station and stuff. And
because one of the kids is the same school.
The school has the same
name as the one.
First name as where Ryan Reynolds is when he plays Van Wilder.
Yeah.
It's,
I can't remember.
I'll see if I can find it. Apparently this was released 7 weeks before Alien Covenant, though.
Yeah.
And it's far better.
Oh, definitely.
After watching it, I think we just watched Alien Covenant yesterday.
Yeah.
God, I don't like it.
Did you not?
No, I don't. But as a director, I think he's done a great job with this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this sounds like it was clearly the vision that he and the writers wanted to do.
Yeah.
Which to me, I think proves the amount of involvement that Sony will have had on Morbius. But I think Sony are very involved in what they're doing with that Spider-Man adjacent universe and trying to create or mess up or whatever it is.
I don't know what they're doing with the Sony Marvel Spider-Man, whatever.
I do know this was Skydance's first project released by Paramount and not Columbia Pictures.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of the age rating it got.
I was about to say it's the first 18 certificate song from Skydance.
Yeah. I'm assuming then that Paramount are more likely to put out mature content than Columbia Pictures.
Yeah.
I don't have any proof on that, and it's not something I've particularly noticed, but it'll be something I'll try and pay attention to now. I do particularly like that quite a few of these actors have been in Marvel films. Yeah. Well, I don't like it. I find it quite interesting because obviously we had Jake Gyllenhaal in that Spider-Man film I'd forgotten about.
Oh, yeah. Famously.
Ryan Reynolds from X-Men Origins and Haruki Sanada from The Wolverine.
Yeah.
Another thing I found quite funny in this, actually, is when Calvin's on the loose.
Right.
Well, he's trying to escape that room, isn't he? And they're shutting all the little airflow valves manually.
Yeah.
But they're just so happening to be closed them in the order that Calvin's heading for them.
Yeah.
Which I particularly like. It made me laugh. It's like they had no way of knowing that Calvin was going to go for this one as you're closing it. Yeah. I just thought it was really funny. I do like Calvin's design.
I know, you keep telling me.
Like a big space squid thing.
There was one of them in Prometheus and you weren't happy about it.
That was one of my favourite things in Prometheus. I don't like Prometheus either.
I know. We watched that the other day too.
Yeah. All these films are better than Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
I agree.
They're also better than Alien Romulus. But I don't think any of them as a character as interesting as Andy.
Yeah.
Was he Andy?
Believe so.
Okay. Andy the android. Andy droid.
It was very creative on the name.
It's a reference, I think, to the android's dream of electric sheep.
Right.
They're called Andys in that for short. It's supposed to be like a derogatory term, I think.
Right.
But I think this has some good suspense in this.
Oh, yeah.
And it breezes by. I don't know how long it is, but it didn't feel particularly long.
It's an hour 50, I think.
Hour 44 IMDb says.
Right.
I think all these films are about an hour 40, aren't they?
I think so.
Give or take.
I think Event Horizon's the shortest.
Yeah. And there's a lot more going on in Event Horizon.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be the longest.
Yeah.
So there's something up there.
But I think what makes Life so well is the character dynamics, how they all work together. I mean, it helps that Reynolds and Gyllenhaal had been friends prior to filming this.
Yeah.
I think it just adds that idea of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Oh, I give up. Is there anything else you want to say on this one?
Music by John Ekström. He did your favourite movie, Morbius.
I was also my favourite movie.
Anyway, the music, he was told to take inspiration from Bernard Herrmann, who does a lot of Hitchcock stuff.
Right.
Like Psycho.
Yeah.
But he also did Taxi Driver. And I think if you listen to the music on this, I think that suspenseful sort
of Taxi Driver.
When Hitchcock is as well.
Yeah.
I think it shows in that. And I think it helps the suspense of the movie overall as well.
Yeah. I think cinematography helps with building that suspense as well.
Yeah.
From Seamus McGarvey.
Yeah.
Because he seems to know his way around a camera. But no, just some of the shots that you get of the ship itself, how it's framed and how it follows Calvin at times, it does really well.
Yeah.
And he did a great job, I think, on cinematography in Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a phenomenal looking film.
Yeah.
This guy also was cinematographer the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
But he also did The Accountant, so he's clearly got a range.
Yeah.
Every shot just looks great.
Yeah.
The only one that really stands out to me is, he did We Need to Talk About Kevin, another phenomenal film.
Yeah.
But then the year after, this is the one that I think stands out because it doesn't have the look of, there isn't that, cinematic look in this that all the others have, I don't think. And it's Avengers Assemble.
Oh, one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, but I mean, there's something really picturesque and grand and cinematic about all the other films I've said, I think.
Yeah.
And then Avengers Assemble, I don't particularly feels very cinematic.
No.
It's big in scope.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel cinematic.
No. I think you got Joss Whedon to blame.
There's no dynamic lighting in it.
No.
There's no...
Again, I think it's Joss Whedon you've got to blame for that. I think if you actually look at the imagery, I think if you, light it better.
The whole look of Avengers Assemble to me, and I don't know if this is going to hurt some people. I hope not, but I think it's a point worth saying. And I think it is credit to Joss Whedon's vast TV work.
Yeah.
He can't make a film look like a film.
No.
It looks like a very big budget TV movie. Yeah. A very big budget TV movie.
Yeah. It looks like the Justice League pilot, but thrown a bit more money into it.
A lot more money thrown at it, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So there's clearly a production value to it.
Because like we said, it's got a better cinematographer. And that helps.
If you want a great looking film, I would never hire Joss Whedon.
No.
Because I don't think he's directed anything that looks particularly cinematic.
No.
There may be moments that feel cinematic, but that'll come from the gravitas, I think, of actors.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the look, he just doesn't have it.
No. He was all right for his Much Ado About Nothing, but
that very simple black and white drama.
Yeah. But again, that's nothing that really needs to look anything bigger than it is.
No.
Plus it's Shakespeare, so it's
great. Oh, we're talking about something we're not here to discuss.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I went on a tangent again.
I usually stop you.
It's just odd. I feel like we've maybe unintentionally bigged up Morbius and shot down the Avengers.
Morbius, your favourite movie of that year?
Was it?
Yeah.
What year was Morbius? Last year?
It's 2022, I think.
2 years ago. Let's just say it was the Madam Web of this year.
It definitely was.
You get Craven and Venom this year.
Yeah.
Craven was supposed to be last year.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, Life. Funny, isn't it? You're trying to discuss life and life gets in the way.
Something like that.
Don't think I understand jokes anymore.
Don't we understand anything anymore? Can we just appreciate the special effects team on this for editing out all them wires?
Oh, yeah. They didn't do it on the deleted scenes, though, did they?
No. By that, I do mean they suspended all the actors up on...
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Oh, the listeners went.
No, I just mentioned all the wires.
Yeah. It was an unfinished set and there were just wires hanging out of all these places. They're like, we've got to move now, go.
Yeah, no, all the actors were suspended on wires to help it feel like zero gravity.
Yeah.
I think it really helped the film.
Yeah, but to go back to the cast, because obviously we just said...
Got another underrated actor in Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
Always in a great film that seems to do well.
Because I think the first time I saw her was in whichever was the Mission Impossible where she first appeared. It's like, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because people still like her in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah.
But they don't particularly seem to care for her when she does other things.
Yeah.
Was it The Snowman she was in?
Yeah.
That got slated. I understand it might not be accurate to the novels, and they do weird things in it, like they speak English, yet I think it was still set in Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh, and they pronounced the main guy's name wrong.
Yeah.
But it weren't a terrible film.
No. And then Reminiscence.
We've covered that.
And that's a great film. She's great in it.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's great in everything I've seen her in.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanada in this, he's a little unrated, I think. He's got his fan base and following, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't seem to be a big draw for audiences. No one's going to see a film because his name's on the thing. Because he was great in the new Was it John Wick 4? Yeah, it was. He was in John Wick 4, wasn't
John Wick 4.
In loads of stuff. Yes. Anything more you want to say about... I don't feel like we've actually said much about life.
We've said it's alien.
I mean,
not.
We're born, we live, we die. That's life.
I just want to find the movie called Death so I can offer people life or death.
Bet there is one, and I bet it's crap. I bet it's a real bad horror.
I imagine it's the opposite of life, so I imagine it's pretty poor.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite out of any of these films we've discussed anyway?
Probably Pandorum.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, it doesn't look as great as the other two, I don't think.
But the story and the acting really helps.
I just find what's going on a lot more interesting in Pandorum.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Event Horizon, it's just like a haunted house in space.
Yeah.
I don't particularly feel it can offer a great end. By a great end, I don't mean like, oh, it's all happy and sunshine. I mean, I don't think it had potential of offering an ending like I hadn't seen before. And while Life and Pandorum might offer endings that I've seen before, you don't particularly expect the endings you get from them.
No.
You know, and that's what I particularly like. Because they're two great endings.
Yeah.
I do wish Pandorum got the sequels it deserves.
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't garner such an audience, though. I can only assume from the cast, no one...
Yeah.
I mean, because Quaid's star power had already died by that point.
Yeah, I don't even really know if he actually ever had true star power anyway.
Good point.
Like, you look at his films and they're all kind of...
Cult classic-y.
Yeah. None of them are really huge hits.
None are... Big Easy got a TV series.
Yeah.
Not with him, and... like 10 years later, I think.
Yeah.
Not sure on that now.
Yeah.
It was definitely later anyway.
Yeah.
Like a few years later.
Yeah.
Shall I wrap us up?
In what?
Words?
I'll just say I do agree. Pandorum's probably my favourite out of these days.
Yeah.
But again, I seem to lean towards more action films.
Life is a close second for me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I even dislike Event Horizon.
No.
I don't. I like it.
Yeah.
I also have the problem with Pandorum's the one I've seen the most.
Yeah.
So there's maybe some sort of bias in that.
And again, I think it was the first one out of these three as well.
What I'd seen.
Both of us seen as well. So I think that comes down to it.
Yeah.
Plus, I think we're huge fans of Ben Foster.
Yeah.
We always think, oh, what an underrated actor.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch anything with Ben Foster. He's just one of them actors.
Yeah.
But I'm very similar with Ryan Reynolds, Rebecca Ferguson, and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And I guess Sanada. Yeah. He's got a lot of back catalogue as well that I want to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's done a samurai film or two I want to see.
Most likely.
Shall I wrap us up?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are Cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in our show's description. And remember to join us next week as we bring you something a little different, as I won't be there. And Matt from Sitting Through the Credits will be aboard to discuss the Alien quadrilogy and possibly the films that came after it in the franchise. Do you know? Or
yeah.
you're discussing the whole...
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll most likely do like a rundown of the others.
Right, okay. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
very, very hard to come by.
So was our cargo. Whatever you got going on here ain't exactly approved by Congress.